Well, hey guys, so it is the morning of my trip, and this is voiceover Annie, so you will notice that my voice is not matching my hand movements. I just wanted to let you know this is the reference picture that I'm working from. If you would, for some reason, like to paint these dead sticks, you definitely can. Also, if you notice when I move the tablet, you can already see that the masking fluid's on because I just kind of edited this in from later on. But I do go over how I put the masking fluid on this paper, which is one of the sample pack that I got from Wet Paint. So, yeah, without further ado, we are gonna start by getting this cat hair off of my pan, applying liquid Frisket. So we're gonna do some masking, hopefully, and I really hope it turns out okay, because this masking fluid is a little bit old. Also very foamy and kind of fighting me. So for the most part, I'm not concerned with these being really solid, because they're not really solid in the reference picture. Okay, well, we're gonna try again. Okay, I can see that it's shiny and that there's cat hair because my cat won't leave me alone. Now I have to go pet my cat. But shiny, shiny. Now I'll let it dry and hopefully it'll come off. I can't believe all the crazy places I find cat hair. I say as if that isn't my life motto. Oh yeah, so I'm using Daniel Smith paints for this. See, look, here's a cat hair. Also, since I have been using fresh paint for swatches, I have noticed that I really like working with fresh watercolor paint and fresh gouache. So that might be a new thing for me. We'll see. Yeah, so Daniel Smith. I have some. We got this little cobalt teal guy. We got this burnt sienna guy. Here's some sap green. And this is some quinacridone gold. Oh my goodness, that's really not easy to say today. And some transparent brown oxide. And then I got these in a fun little art exchange, an art supply exchange. So this is Aussie Red Gold. And this is a little bit of one of these cool stick things in a rich green gold. Okay, now there we are. We're on the screen again. Okay. So I'm looking forward to trying those. I haven't really done anything with them yet. How did another cat hair get on there? Cats. I tell ya. I'll also be using this buff titanium, which I actually only have in a stick from Daniel Smith. And the reason why I picked Daniel Smith is because I know Daniel Smith. It's the watercolor I've been using since I started watercoloring and graduated out of student grade paints. And B, I know it doesn't flow as heavily, and I kind of am in the mood for that. Like it's not core, so. That is kind of what a kind of meh, sort of skyish color. With a little bit of variation in it. All right. That is not very much paint. I always do that. I'm always like, yeah, I'm gonna mix together 2 drops of paint and then get really angry because I don't have nearly as much paint as I need to do what I'm trying to do. I don't know. Some people just can't handle things, and I'm one of them. All right, well, here we go. No, that's not weird. That's totally normal paint behavior. Also, even though I totally said, I'm gonna make enough paint, I totally, very clearly did not make enough paint. You see that? That's still only 2 drops of paint. Like, I doubled the amount of paint I mixed, and I still only have like 2 drops of paint. Everything's fine. Today I really wanted to do something that I felt like wasn't gonna turn into like an abysmal failure because last time I recorded was 2 nights ago, and I started recording my gouache art haul, which may or may not make it out before this one, we'll see. And like one of my gouache tubes exploded everywhere, and then we got like this huge storm and I had to stop filming even though I hadn't finished swatching, which I know is not the important thing, right? But like I was really irritated, so I came back and finished swatching my, I just had like black left basically. Yeah. So I have to finish swatching the other colors for that. And while that is drying, let's figure out what we want our greens to look like. Ooh, that green stayed a lot more wet than that cobalt teal. That cobalt teal dried super fast. Oh, I might have to set this down. Look at that color though. Ooh, can you see that? No, it's not on camera, sorry. Ooh, look at that green gold. Yeah, that right there. That's so pretty. Yeah, green gold, that's what that is, right? It is in fact rich green gold, and I agree with that assessment. It is rich. It looks really delightful. Let's see here. I'm gonna scooch this on up. Okay, you guys, remind me. I want to do a gradient here. I want to fade out here. Don't let me do green all the way down. I don't want to. I probably should have gotten Frisket farther down, more like this is. It's fine. It doesn't need to be the same everywhere. Alrighty, so I think up here we want to be pretty darn green. Oh, do you know what would be nice is like a neutral tint. I think I have one of those somewhere. I love dabbling those in. Okay, I'm now going to remember that I'm trying to make a gradient instead of just splooshing stuff. I'm gonna remember. It's okay. Where'd my green gold go? I set it down. That's such a cool color. So, like, one of the most fun things to me about watercolor is dotting in different colors into your wet washes. So that's what I'm doing here. And just trying to pull the gradient down to at the bottom. And then I move on to the houses. This is the next day, that's why the color changes. So I'm trying to keep these little houses house-shaped so you can tell what they are, but I also want them to be really indistinct so they don't really attract your attention. Like your brain just kind of registers them as houses. So that's why I'm putting in paint and then I'm dabbing it back off. I'm trying to kind of give the houses form, but keep them subtle too. And you will see me doing exactly the same thing with these trees. I go in with a darker paint, and then I go, oh, that's way too dark, and then I dab them back with a towel while they're still wet. And I actually do that a few times. I edited it out because it's not the most interesting thing to watch to me, but I do go back over them several times. That's why they suddenly change shape. Okay guys, the time has come. Ooh, why is this so very wiggly now? Time's come. I don't have a fancy tool. I have this eraser that actually is kind of dirty. But let's see if we can get this off without ruining my painting. Yeah, I admit this is not coming off super great. I will probably need to get new masking fluid. Oof. But it is coming off. Honestly, I'm trying to remember if this ever came off super well, and I don't know that it did. Especially when it's put on thin, it seems to be more prone to being sticky. Let's see, look now though. So yeah, you can see where it's in fact done exactly what it's supposed to do. Okay, so managed to get all the masking fluid off. Really wish the paper wasn't wrinkly. Moving on. So now it's time to start putting in my little planties. So I'm gonna kind of work in layers for this too, and just get like maybe light colors in first, because that makes sense because we're working in watercolor. Okay, so if you've never gotten a sample sheet or a sample packet of watercolor papers, I got these from Wet Paint, and I happen to know that I have the number 6. The number 6 is actually, I think, possibly on the back side of this paper. Like it's hidden either behind tape or on the bottom. I can't tell. So this is, and I have never even heard of this because I will admit I haven't done a lot of exploring with watercolor papers, but it's L'Aquarelle for 140-pound hot press. So that's really interesting. And it feels like a hot press, but it's such a, it feels like fabric. It's, yeah. It feels very, yeah, fabric-y. I don't know how else to say it. So, I have a little bit. This is the Aussie Red Gold. And this is the new Gamboge. And I have just a little bit here that I keep coming back to. And I'm dipping my brush in that little puddle and then touching it to the towel so that it's not so very incredibly wet at the tip. So, because this is a synthetic brush and it will, oh my goodness, I forgot how to use a camera. And it will just dump water if you're not careful. And when I'm trying to do these super fine detailed lines, I really don't want a big water dump on my painting. So I'm trying to be really careful. I'm also monitoring for cat hair because that's fairly endless. Okay, so off camera, here's a giant cat hair. I just went through and, like I said, I was going to put in some darks and tried to leave a little bit of highlight and tried to give these a little bit of form, even though they're just tiny sticks. And then I took some Hansa Yellow Light and put a base coat down for the plants that are going to be at the bottom. So looking at this now, I'm wondering if this grass is going to be too vibrant too, like if I should have toned that down more. This is all kind of an experiment for me. I've never actually painted anything that I wanted a super muted background. I'm usually kind of the opposite. I don't like tone down anything, so I'm trying to up my game by, you know, being a little bit more realistic with how I design my stuff. You guys zoomed? Yes. Tiny, am I taking it too seriously? Are you standing on my painting? What are you doing? Huh? Can you get off my... Nope. Gotta sit on it now. Okie dokie. Yep, that's fine. Whose house is this? It's your house. That's right. Okay guys, so it is the morning of my trip, and in 7 minutes I have to go and shower and put on like actual clothing and not pajamas. So I have 7 minutes to finish editing and getting my voiceover stuff done for this video. Woohoo! Yeah, so I love putting in shadows. The better I get at values and the better I get at understanding shadow structures, the more I find it like the most enjoyable part of a painting. Like when you're putting in these darker tones, it just makes everything alive. It gives it form and depth and life, and I love it. Putting in highlights is fun too, but doing watercolors, you're doing that less. It's really more going in the opposite direction. So I love getting to this point, and that one little part there in the shadow, it really fought me. I had to redo that one like 4 times. And the reason for that, I already know, is because I didn't want to commit to like a specific shape there for some reason. Anyways, so yeah, I'm just layering in colors to make the shadows darker here. When I was starting this, I thought I would hold more to the reference photo, because in the reference photo there's like a big area on that like lower green part that's definitely in the shade because it's the light's coming from behind the plant, so there should be a big shadow there, and I just cheated and I decided I didn't want it there because I wanted it to be brightly colored and in your face in the foreground. So, and yeah, just going through again on these and putting in yet another layer of even darker shadow, and I'm really glad I did because I think it makes them pop a lot more. And I think that's even more necessary on these really small stems and things. Like, it's so easy to lose those to the background that, like, you really want to make sure that they have enough value to stand out from what they're next to. Okay, so I left this in because I really wanted to show you it is okay to make mistakes in watercolor. I know some people get really nervous about watercolor because it seems like so implacable, but you can make mistakes. So I decided that I thought those more defined grassy areas looked really distracting. And so I'm just going through and getting them kind of damp and then blotting them off with my towel, and trying not to get the stems wet because I don't want to disturb the stems. I like where the stems are, so I'm very carefully getting the paper wet around them and then blurring things and dabbing it off with a towel, and we're done. Calling it. So I really am happy with how this turned out. I think it says exactly what I wanted it to say. I think it says, yay, it's finally almost spring, sort of. Let's do a little bit of zoom in. I like the little gradient in the shadow under the plant, the greeny plant. And I will give you a little bit of a review on this Lana Aquarelle 140 pound hot press paper. So I've had other papers that tear at the corner like that. Like, that's not unusual, but this clearly wrecked. I mean, I don't want to say wrecked. This ruffled the paper all along the edges, and I have not had that problem except when I am not using the greatest quality paper. So, and that's probably not the case here, and maybe other people have had that issue on nice paper because they're using the wrong tape. I've been using this tape for a while, so I don't know what's going on, but I won't buy this again. I wouldn't tell people not to buy it. I would just tell them to be careful with the tape that they used. I also will say that you're probably not going to be able to see this, but there is warping, and I don't have a problem with arches, so yep, not my favorite paper, but it'll do. Alright, voiceover Annie here to like end this video because I started really rambling. Yeah, so I appreciate all you guys being here. Leave a message in the comment with what you think about the video or the painting, or tell me what your favorite flower is, and you guys have a great week. Bye-bye.